Welcome, everyone. Today, I am speaking with Jaryd Takushi, who is a broker at Kentwood City Properties, our downtown Denver office. And the office is right across the street from Union Station, and Jaryd is very interested in trains and in transit-oriented development and design, so that'll be a fun thing to talk about. Jaryd grew up and was raised in Hawaii, and he really brings that aloha spirit to his life, to his business practice, and for sure to Kentwood. We always appreciate getting an aloha and a mahalo from Jaryd. So welcome, Jaryd. It's great to have you today.
Thanks, Gretchen. So great to be here. Snowy day here in Denver, which, is part of why we all love and live here. The snow this morning and now blue skies. So I'm so excited to be here with you on Kentwood's Voices podcast, or what would we call this, a vlog?
We can call it whatever you want to call it.
Voices vlog. Love it.
Good. So, Jaryd, tell us what was the genesis of getting you into real estate. You were a civil engineer for 10 years prior to jumping over to real estate. Why and how did that come about?
So, as a civil engineer, I did that for 10 years as a consultant. So I found a lot of great neighborhoods as I started doing roads, bridges, traffic throughout the metro area. But I think really the genesis was when I bought my first place. I think I was 23 years old, bought my first place. I was hooked. And I think what a lot of people say is they bought that first house and didn't feel like the realtor helped them as much as they could have helped through that first-time home buyer process. And so I think that was part of my getting interest, first buying a house at a young age, and then just having that landlord vision, and then being able to help future first-time home buyers down the line is really how my practice started, and still part of my business today is those first-time home buyers. Yeah,
they just so appreciate the help that you give them. And especially when you take the time to really educate them, they realize how.
Education part takes a while, and I think sometimes it's 5 years till I see that client come back around, buy their first house, get married, buy their second house, have a kid, buy their third house. So I think in the 14 years I've been doing real estate, I've seen just that circle of life come around from career to life. So yeah, it's been a good first-time home buyer to third-time home buyer.
And you've had your family too in that time.
Yes, a lot has changed in my personal life. The family work balance has been a challenge. I now have two boys, 8 and 6. So with my boys, it's been a balance of work, balance of family, and just trying to build that legacy for them when they become landlords and realtors down the line.
Yeah, see, my 26-year-old son is in real estate school right now, so it does happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's in the family, it's in the business. When I was a kid in Hawaii, my parents had a rental on the beach. It was amazing. I remember going there and fixing up the rental. But yeah, it started a previous generation before me, where my parents also had a rental in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. So what other interesting background from your growing up years do you bring into your life and your business practice?
I think it's that landlord vision. Every house that I look at, every buyer that I take out, just not thinking about this one purchase. I always really look at my clients and my practice as, hey, this is a life investment, I would say. Gathering more assets has been part of my business. I now have six properties. So I think anytime I bring my previous experience of engineer, where I built capital and then I bought properties, to today, now where I have kids and I'm trying to make each property an asset to my kids, and gonna show them how to keep these properties, running and being a residual income down the future. So even to my clients, I do that, from day one. It's like, all right, yeah, let's go look at houses, but what are you going to do with it, say in 5 years? Because that's when you're going to move and call me again.
So tell me, what what do you say to someone who says, oh, I don't want to be a landlord, it's too much trouble, what if I get a bad tenant?
Good question. Nobody has bad tenants ever. We all have great tenants. Um, I think, people that don't want to be landlords are kind of through the horror stories, that we hear a lot in the public. But, I've only had to evict one tenant in my 15 years. So I think, sharing both sides of the story, those people that don't want to be landlords, I can tell them, well, then let's look at your equity in 5 years and let's upgrade you, because this first house isn't going to be your dream house either. So there's a lot of ways to kind of help folks, but buying that first property is always, it's a no-brainer to me. I mean, today's interest rates, I want to go buy another house tomorrow just because the interest rates are so great. So a lot of, I guess, what's the word, distractions, or just different ways to take that topic of landlords versus, how do we build equity? And I think with those life experiences that I've already had in my young career, I think I can share that with a lot of buyers down the line.
Yeah, it's interesting because some people really want to create this residual income, like you said, it's almost an annuity, this rent coming in, the mailbox money, and other people are so nervous about that, or they feel like they want to invest it in the markets.
True.
And,
yeah. The markets, the stock market you're talking about, Gretchen, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, you could play the stock market, and I'm not a stock advisor. I'm not a broker in that business, so I don't own it. I don't know what to do. So when people ask me for advice on that, I say, what we should say: talk to your tax advisor, talk to your broker, talk to your attorney. But yeah, that's a whole different. I think people always choose, like, do I want to go stocks or do I want to go real estate? And real estate's always my choice. I guess I do have a horror story if you want to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the cautionary tale.
Yeah, so there is, I have bad stories, but I got a place after COVID, so I got it in August, and it's been vacant since August. Today's what, November? So August to November, I've had a vacancy on one of my rentals, and I've decided to flip it, or not flip it, but renovate it in this vacancy period. And it's been out for rent for 60 days, and I haven't got one nibble. So I am seeing, one of my properties, it's a condo in Cap Hill, and I do see the rental market slowing in that neighborhood. So a little horror story or cautionary tale. I've had to hold this one vacant for 4 months now. So I'm in the whole $6,000. But, I see good things happening in 2021. And I know the property's great now. It's completely renovated. So hopefully I'll find a tenant in the next month or, January. So it's just a slow period. And I think COVID has affected my interest, demand.
Yeah. It's winter. People move in the spring and the summer more for rentals, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And, being downtown in Cap Hill, restaurants, the college kids, the young professionals. I think that market has kind of not dried up, but everybody's holding tight for a little bit.
Right, the whole lifestyle, the reason why you would go down there is kind of shut down, but it'll open back up again. Yeah. So in the last 5 years or so, do you have any new habits, new behaviors that have really impacted you?
I think podcasts actually. I get the iPhone and I plug in my ear pods and I listen to podcasts at like a 1.5 speed to get through them faster. I listen to a lot of mortgage folks. I listen to a lot of realtors around the nation coming up with ideas, YouTube, Facebook ads, YouTube ads. So I think that's a habit, that I've picked up that, just while I'm brainlessly just listening to music, why not listen to a podcast? So I think that's my newest habit that has developed some, ideas, marketing. So last.
Do you want to share any of the podcast names?
Podcast. Let's see. Massive Agent. He's out of Utah. He's got a great podcast. Bigger Pockets. I'll give them a shout out.
I actually know him. He lives in Wash Park.
Yeah. Josh Dorkin. I met him through engineering 15 years ago and caught on to his podcast. He's got some cool terms, house hacking, Burr, and that podcast actually is now in Hawaii, come to find out. He's gotten so big that Bigger Pockets is now, a national podcast. It wasn't local. So yeah, those two I think are my biggest ones. And then I've got Instagram marketing, Facebook marketing, social media. So there's a lot of them out there. If you got other questions, I could, shoot people some podcasts over the phone. So, but
Okay.
those would be
So
my.
they back to you, Jaryd Takushi at Kentwood City Properties.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what purchase of $500 or less in recent months has benefited you?
500 or less. Let's see. I would say maybe this coffee event I did. So I did Love a Latte on Valentine's Day or somewhere around Valentine's Day. My preferred lender and I put together this event, and we just kind of bought out the whole coffee shop, a local coffee shop, obviously, to kind of bring in that neighborhood feel, community feel. And, this month, small businesses are really hurting. So I would encourage everybody to latch on to a, local coffee shop. The other thing I do is beer, which about Gretchen a lot. I do is beer. But I spent $350 at this Love a Latte event, and it brought the coffee shop a lot of business. It brought me some clients, and really it was just a thank you. Again, in the name, Love a Latte. I love my clients, my community here in Central Park, Denver. It was just a good turnout. And I think, obviously, who doesn't come out for a free coffee?
That's a great idea. It's so simple, and I love the whole marriage of supporting local business, because we're a company and a group of brokers that are really community oriented, and we try so hard to support our community as a whole. So that's a nice way to do it.
I've been talking to a lot of other agents, brokers, and that's my recommendation is always, when you have a choice to make, are you going to go eat? Are you going to get coffee at Starbucks, or are you going to go to a local coffee shop? The local coffee shop obviously is going to remember that more than Starbucks. So, as you're driving down the road, which shopping mall do you pull into, and who do you support, and who do you give your money to? So that's kind of a philosophy that I've been going through after I read the Go Giver book. Have you read that book?
Yeah, that's a great book.
So
yeah.
The Go Giver book, and then just how they always, create relationships with every small business around your community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they'll refer you, and it's just sort of really helps feed the economy, and it's a great way to do it. It's so easy now to order online, and I'm trying more to do it on Etsy now rather than on Amazon, just because I know I'm supporting someone.
Oh.
A person, a craft maker, but that's still not necessarily a Denver local. I like the idea of the Denver local or Colorado local businesses. We need to help them.
Shop local. Yeah. What did you buy on Etsy? Was it something cool?
Oh, well, you know what? My son is stuck in Seattle because he can't come out here for Christmas, and he has no Christmas decorations. So he said he was going to go get a little small Christmas tree. I said I would send him some lights and some decorations and a stocking. He doesn't have a stocking out there. It's all here. Oh. So I'm shipping him a stocking with a gnome on it.
I mean, Etsy's great for those kinds of things, right? Christmas ornaments, something more original. So that's a great purchase. Yeah, he'll love that box. Just open it up and goodies everywhere.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I got him his first ever commemorative Christmas tree decoration, and it was a little mini roll of toilet paper that says 2020 on it. So that'll be
2020. What a year, huh?
What a year. We're almost through it. Do you have a favorite quote? Do you have a saying, anything that keeps you grounded or motivated?
I don't have a quote, but I use the word legacy a lot. My two boys, and just kind of what I stay grounded, or what keeps me motivated, is what's going to be here for them in the future. I started my own little compost in the backyard, something as small as that. Our planet and all the things that come out of it, fertilizer, compost. I mean, my legacy to my boys hopefully will be real estate, obviously, and then just a greener earth. I've got solar, you know, bringing it back to real estate. I've got solar on my house. I haven't moved over to the electric car yet, but I'm sure that's coming in the future. So really the legacy and the planet that I want to leave for my kids is what keeps me motivated these last couple months. Really, I mean, it's the last couple months, right? You're at home all the time. So what can we do?
So while you've been home, you've started composting?
Composting, looking at putting up solar on my house, you know, thinking of ways to lower my carbon footprint. Um, you know, talking about small businesses earlier, just trying to keep it more in our neighborhoods, the money, the where do we shop, all that. So yeah, really trying to.
So that's the legacy you want to leave for your boys.
Yep, with some houses as well.
Yeah, with some houses, yeah. So we were talking a few minutes ago and you said you didn't really have an answer for failure. Failed at anything?
Oh
You
yeah,
never had a setback, or you just don't want to share?
plenty of failures, you know. I mean, the ones that kind of hurt though are the marketing. You know, when you do marketing and your events are downers, you know, 5 people show up or something like that. You know, those are the 5 people that you love and, you know, invite them to every event. But, you know, I think that's kind of been some of my failures is like, all right, what event does everybody want to come to? Shout out to Amy Harrington on this Voices, because the work she does, you know, putting together all our events, I love. I try to attend, you know, when I can and invite those people in my sphere. But the failure is, you know, you put together a great event and nobody shows up. So those have been some of my recent ones. And, you know, you spend a lot of money and time and you just miss the mark. So I think those have been my failures that have really hurt, but also it's more just like, all right, what do we do better next time?
Yeah. Well, let's switch then from talking about failures and let's talk about successes. You've translated your former career of civil engineering really well into your real estate business in terms of focusing on trains. You're very into trains and you have a high level of knowledge about transit-oriented design and transit-oriented development. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Okay. So it all kind of started back in my engineering days. I worked on fast tracks, which, you know, 15 years ago, I think it was voted on. So worked on a couple train stations and really just saw the benefit of not being in a car. So I guess, you know, this turns back to the carbon footprint, you know, being on a train and riding to work, your commute. You know, I saw the benefit 15 years ago and just said, yeah, you know, if I design this train station, will they come? Will they ride the train? And where does it go? So it goes to Union Station, which again comes back to me working at Kentwood City because I love the location and, you know, how we promote that commuting, ride the train, all that. So it all started as an engineer in the consultant world. And now, you know, I would say that in real estate, I've seen the benefit of some property values. You know, I don't have the data really to back it up. But, you know, any neighborhood that I've purchased or helped a client purchase, I just see the values tripled in that short time that the train station is open. There are outliers that, you know, the train station's been there and no value has increased. But for the most part, every station that I've looked at, some of my favorites is Old Town Arvada. I mean, that one's done so great. Let's see, Lakewood out west, and the G line out west to Wheat Ridge. All these lines, I think, have benefited from trains. Oh, I got to mention Central Park. That's my neighborhood. You know, I live here, and Central Park out to the airport, excuse me, the A line. You know, I did a video on that. I think I've got the most views on that A-line video because people are riding the train to the airport. It's just a great way, very convenient. It's not cheap, but if you do the numbers, you know, it's cheaper to ride the train than it is to park for a week. So have you ridden the train? Gretchen, put you on the spot.
Do ride the train. And you know what? Ned and my son, Ned is my boyfriend, for those of you who are watching who Jaryd knows. Ned and my son Joe both take the A line. So when they come into town, I will just drive them up to the Colorado station at Colorado Boulevard and 40th and drop them there. And it's just or pick them up depending on if they're coming or going. And it's just so much easier. And Ed even has the app on his phone, and it saves me literally 2 hours of driving him out and back to DIA. It's fantastic.
And then, the app, it's every 15 minutes. It's a pretty reliable schedule, so you won't miss your airplane. People worry about missing their planes.
That did once. It broke down and he got stuck on the train. He got stuck on the A line for hours, just sitting out there in a field somewhere. And he missed a flight. But in like 3 years of him, 3 or almost 4 years of him taking the train, that happened one time. Like you had to evict one tenant. He only had it break down one time.
On the train. I mean, it's convenient, now with COVID, you got to space out, but the trains are pretty empty. And it's always about location. Where does the train start? Where does the train end? So I think they did a great job, picking Union Station, obviously, picking the airport. Those are your points of interest. That's where everybody's coming and going from. So now with the airport, it's really paid off. The other train station I mentioned, Gretchen, was Old Town Arvada. I would encourage a lot of people to go out there because there's a lot going on, a lot of building, a lot of restaurants, a lot of beer again. So what is it, Main Street? No, it's Old Wadsworth, I think is the street.
Old Wadsworth, right.
Wadsworth. So it goes right through that little neighborhood. You got the library, you got some fountains. I think Denver Beer Company's there, New Image Brewing. You got the big box stuff as well, but I think it's that old town feel. I mean, the Main Street feel that people love, and ride the train there, get off, and then ride it back home. It's pretty easy.
In our profession, do you ever hear bad advice given to either clients or other brokers?
Oh, tons of bad advice. Personally, I mean, I think the bad advice I got was buy a nice new car. I don't think that is the right image sometimes, like, oh, wow, you have this fancy new car and, you just need me to buy a house so you can pay for that car. So that's piece of advice that I've never followed. Buy a nice new car. My inspector said that once too. He's like, wow, Jaryd, where's your realtor car? How come you show up at a house without a realtor car? I'm like, that is my car. It's a Toyota 4Runner. It's great. And the reason is too, because I have all my rentals. So I'm also a handyman, right? I renovate toilets. I do it all. So my car typically has some kind of tools. My toolbox is in back there, and I live out of my car. So work is in the back seat with all the handyman stuff. So why would I put all that in a nice car?
Yeah. And if you're working with first-time buyers, it makes sense. In the luxury market, it might be a little different, but you also just have to be true to who you are as a person, and get that. Yeah, it would be weird if you showed up in a Mercedes. It just wouldn't work.
No, that's not me. Yep, that's not my style.
Not. Okay, so what are you better at saying no to these days? Like in the last few years, have you become better at saying no to distractions or invitations, anything?
Definitely. A lot of distractions. It's best, when your phone rings, you just want to know who's calling. So online marketing leads, websites, coffees to create new business partnerships. Those are the ones I just say no to. No, thank you. Try to be polite. You got to say no 5 times before they'll let you go. But yeah, all those websites and online marketing leads, that's kind of not for me.
So many real estate brokers and agents, they're just like flinging around from shiny object to shiny object, and they want to try this marketing and that marketing and this. I'm going to farm this neighborhood for 3 months, and then I'm going to try that, and then I'm going to go door knock. Nobody really does that, only a handful of people. But I want this new technology, that new technology, when they just need to kind of focus. It sounds like that's advocating.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love a new phone, but then I got to learn how to use it, right? So, yeah, maybe down the line when I get, some time to myself, like, all right, yeah, let's get a new phone. But even that, new phone, new toys, shiny, ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the shiny. Like, I definitely want a new phone. I'm waiting patiently. So if you ever feel overwhelmed or unfocused, which I know you don't very often, feel either overwhelmed or unfocused, But if you do, how do you get back? How do you bring yourself back?
Music is kind of one of my things. It kind of just takes me to a new place. So Jack Johnson is one of my favorite musicians.
Surf boy.
Yeah. So, Jack always has these free concerts, Kakua Festival. He did this food drive in Hawaii thing. So I always can find him on the internet, which is cool. And then it just makes me think about my next trip home. I've had to cancel my COVID trip to Hawaii twice now. And so hopefully, we'll get there soon. But it's great to have that option, right? I mean, us as realtors, our business, our life, we want to have those vacations. And so hopefully, that will hold, I guess, the rescheduling based on COVID.
Yeah.
Other thing I do is always go back to my sales goals. Like, all right, where am I at this year and what do I need to improve on? And I think that keeps me focused on like, all right, what's the end year goal and how do I get there? And, sales goals are always something easy to go back and just, all right, I need to do this, I need to do that, and get some clients closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you make yourself feel better and get focused because you have a goal that's written down and articulated.
Yeah, it's right there. I look at it every day.
Yeah. So the last thing I wanted to ask you about is your train videos. Do you want to talk to us a little about the videos that you've done? Because you're really good at that and they're a lot of fun to watch. So why don't you tell us all about what you've done there and where we can find them?
Okay, thanks for the plug. Yeah, I'd love to talk about. So I do a lot of train YouTube videos. I also put a couple on Facebook. But really what they're called is alohartd.com. And what I'm trying to kind of pivot is more to a lifestyle video. But these train videos have been great. As I mentioned earlier, the Old Town Arvada station is one of my favorites, out west, Wheat Ridge, the Ward Road station. So they're all on YouTube. They're all on Facebook. Another way you could get it on YouTube is, let's see, JYT808 is my YouTube page. And, it has all my listing videos, which I think are another thing that has boosted my business. So check out any of my listing videos. I've got drones in there. I think that's been really paying off. But yeah, I would love some feedback. You say they're great, Gretchen, but if you look at the ones from 3 years ago, they're pretty bad, I would say. I've gotten a little bit better on my talking to the camera, but sometimes it's just, those little outtakes, you're laughing at yourself and sometimes you just forget a line. But I think I've improved on my train videos over the last 3 years. So thanks for the plug.
We will get you some train views on YouTube.
Please.
Aloha
There's
RTD.
Aloha RTD. Also, there's a couple at Union Station, Union Station and that walk score we talked about. Those are great stations. So yeah, please, everybody take a look. Love your feedback on those.
So I guess we'll just sum it up here with Mele Kalikimaka, right?
It's coming. Yeah. Merry Christmas.
And see if there's anything else you want to wrap it up with before we say goodbye to everybody.
No, just want to say mahalo to you, Gretchen, and everybody at Kentwood for all your support. It's been a great year. It's been a tough year, but I think I'll have a record year, and hopefully, 2021 we'll all just kind of ramp up and just do another great year at Kentwood.
Yeah, we will. We'll get some inventory out there for our buyers to look at. We'll have a great year. Rates will stay low. So things are shaping up well.
Yeah.
Well, mahalo to you for your time today. And to everyone who's been watching, this has been a lot of fun. Jaryd, I've always treasured working with you. You're an amazing colleague and a great team player in our company. And thank you for being a part of it.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Have a good one.
Mahalo. All right. Bye-bye.